Hey there, how are you doing? This is Mitchell Dillman, also known as the Online Carpenter. If this is your first time to my YouTube channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. I believe it's right over here somewhere. So today I thought I'd show you how to fasten anything to your shop floor without leaving bolts sticking up that you can trip on. I've got this compact bar and rod bender that's set up with a nice little base, but you've got to mount it to the floor. And typically you want this out in the middle of your shop where you've got room to work around it with the rod or the bar. The drawback is leaving those rods exposed or the bolts exposed. You know, when you're not using your rod bender, you're going to trip on those bolts. So I've got a simple solution. Come along and I'll show you how it's done. This will be a demonstration of how to mount anything to your shop floor without leaving bolts that you can trip on. So we've got this compact bar and rod bender, and the facts are it's set up on a pedestal that we'll be able to use for another tool, another bender that I've got. And like I say, you want to set this up out in the middle of your shop where you're able to work around it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is determine where you want to set this up. And in my little space here, we're going to come in a few feet from the outside edge of the door. And I basically just want to center it between my two walls. So we'll find the center point here. Okay, so we've determined where we want the pedestal. We're going to take our marker and mark real quick. Now, if this was going to be set up permanently here, you know, we wouldn't worry about it. We'd just use some expansion bolts, some red heads, set them right there in the ground. But I don't want this mounted here full time. So what we're going to use, I've got some all thread left over from the log homes we work on. This is 5/8 all thread and some couplers. So I'm basically going to make my bolts. We're going to pre-drill these holes out deep enough to set these couplers down in the concrete. Then we'll go ahead and fabricate some bolts simply by taking these nuts and cutting these off to length, and then we'll just be able to insert them right down into these down in the ground. So stay tuned as we proceed. Okay, then for the next step, we'll slide the bender out of the way. And I've got out my handy dandy Bosch roto drill, our hammer drill. It's the SDS Plus, good little tool. And of course my masonry bit is just the size, just big enough for the couplers to fit down in after we drill. So let's go ahead and drill. And I like to just gauge, make sure you go in a good 1/2 inch deeper and longer than these, so that when we drive these in the hole there, okay, for the next step, I've got this epoxy that we're going to use. This was left over from a project we did, setting some log posts, but it's a real quick epoxy anchoring adhesive. So let's get into this. Let's see if we can't do it with a caulk gun. Basically, we just want to put it around this edge. You just want to go all the way around the edge. each hole. Okay, so now we'll take our anchors and just drive them down a little below flush. We'll do the same thing, just fill in around the edge. Okay, so we'll let those set up. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and make us 4 bolts out of this all thread and these nuts for the base plate. Normally that'd be it. You could just take some 1-inch bolts or 1.5 inch, whatever you got, and bolt those in. But I'm just using up some leftover material that I've had around the shop. So we're going to set up here and basically fabricate our bolts for this base. So since we got 4 of them, we'll go ahead and set up our gauge. We'll just take and round off these edges a little bit on the grinder. That'll be our nut. We'll do 3 more. We're going to put a weld right around there. The final step in this process is to weld these bolts up. Let's just get that done right now. I'm just going to back them out about 1 thread, so I've got about 1/8 of an inch there. And we'll just clean those up a little bit, and we've got our bolts. Okay, so obviously that last step of the process wasn't really necessary if I wanted to run to the hardware store and buy some bolts, but just wanted to use up what we had. So. Well, there you go. That'll work. Next time I want to use this, I'll just bolt it down right here. Get it out of the way. It's as easy as that. And you've got no studs sticking up out of your floor. Alright, gang. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time.